Let's look at the simple GDI plus example that we're going to have in our folder there. Just a simple GDI plus example. And you can see we have nothing here. We have a blank canvas. Think of it as a canvas, and we're just going to double click in to see what the code's going to be. And we're going to create some basic things. First, I'm going to start this without debugging just to take a peek. And you can see we just have a basic ellipse here drawn, and then next we're going to have a line drawn, just a basic line, and then another ellipse that isn't filled. And I'm going to show you how to do that really quickly. Just getting our feet wet with working with this particular object, and then we'll have a nice application to work with next. It's going to get layered on top of each other. So if you're drawing in Photoshop or something like that, it's going to work similarly. It's destructive. We're not talking about layers. Layers are an advanced way of working. We're talking about a flat surface. And what we need to do first things first, we just come in, nothing that you haven't seen already in the forms videos. We're going to slide down after our dispose method that we're overriding there. We're going to be overriding the on paint. If we take a look at our form, we're going to take a look at our properties here. We'll see more in the larger example. For now, I'm just going to give you the overview, like I said. We'll look at our events. And you can see that these are the events that we can actually work with. So I'm going to show you a different way, or another way that you can do this within the other example, but you can see that we're not really setting anything. This is just created there because I actually double click to get in there. When you do that, you actually create that event for the load when you double click on the form like that. So we take a peek, we're going to be overriding the on paint event, and I'll show you another way to do that in the next example, but we're just doing protected, override, void, on paint. That's how we're going to be able to get to this. And then we have paint event args, similar to working with our event for regular events, event handlers. So if we just come up here, you can see that we're adding the system.drawing namespace. We don't need the data just yet, but it's there. You know how Windows is about adding that extra code there. We're going to also look in the designer stuff here, the designer code that's generated by the Visual Studio, as we know. You can also see we're using the system.drawing to create our client size. This is the client area of the form that we can actually put things on and manipulate. And then when we do our auto scale, like I mentioned before, this is also working with system.drawing. So some things we're doing within the form layout is going to deal with system.drawing. And you notice that a lot when you work with the Visual Studio to lay things out, or any way to lay that out. If you are laying it out by hand, of course, then you definitely know it. So that's it. You don't see any additional code that we have to worry about, just our on paint event here and how we handle that. So we're overriding the on paint, and what we do is we have to create a reference to a graphic object, as you can see, and this PE is actually getting the graphics from the paint event. So that's how we're using this directly. This is going to get the graphics that we're going to be able to use to paint, a reference to it, and we put that in G. So graphics, that's the name of the class. This is going to encapsulate the GDI plus drawing surface. As you can see here, this is the surface that we're going to be drawing. So it's like an imaginary canvas. Not so imaginary, it's there, but it starts off as a blank canvas. This is how you create a brush. So we create a new solid brush, color.green. You can specify color, and then hit the dot, and then you have all types of colors that you can specify. So we'll leave that as green. Then we fill our ellipse. G for the graphics, dot fill ellipse. If we just do G dot, you can see all the different things you can work with that. So you can deal with that, drawing pie charts and things like that. Polygons, rectangles, strings, images, all different types of things. Curves, ellipses, Beziers. If you're working in Photoshop, you know about those. Arcs. All different types that you can work with. So we're just drawing or filling an ellipse here with my brush. That's what we need to fill in there, my brush. And you can see that you can work with your methods here, the different ways to work with the method signatures. And then we're just going to deal with our client rectangle, which is the rectangle of the form client. After that, we draw that ellipse. Then we're going to draw a pen. We're going to create a pen object here, my pen, and then we're going to set that to color.blue. You don't necessarily have to use the colors, but you can put different values in there as well. After that, we create a point to start to draw a line, and then a second point, because we're going to draw with my pen from point 1 to point 2. Just a way to actually work and show you how to get started. Then we're going to draw an unfilled ellipse. There we have our pen again, but we're going to give it a new pen color here, black. New pen, that's the constructor. Color.black would be the color. And then we draw an ellipse, as you can see. And these would be the points for the ellipse using the pen. And this is the reference points for actually working with drawing this ellipse. And as you can see, we have the X and Y coordinates to start, and then it's going to have the width and the height. So it's going to start on the left and then work its way to the right. And of course, we're using C# to do all of this. So if you're familiar with this in VB, then you're probably getting the picture of how it's going to work in C#. And it's very, very interesting to be able to do this. If you're familiar with working with Win32, C++ programming, C programming, then this is going to look familiar to you as well, because it's building on the basis of working with the Windows system, but it's creating a wrapper around it with the GDI+, and it's making for a very exciting way to work because it's so easy and efficient. So that's the basic of it. You can save things as you want to, and then just run it again if you'd like. And it pops up, and you can see again, the ellipse green, our line was drawn from here to here, and then we have our ellipse here, drawn with just a line, no fill. Very easy to get started. Let's look at another example.